Day 3 in our journey on shifting from learning technical painting, how to paint, and crossing over into defining what your version of beautifully different and interesting is connected to a point of view or a belief. That's the question that we're going to be asking all month long. And I'm posing a question each day. And today is the third day that I'm going to be sharing this. And the question that I have today is my work a reflection, a rebellion, or a reimagining of something that I believe? Okay, let's think about that. Is it a rebellion, a reflection, or a reimagining of something that I believe? It's in the end of that sentence, something I believe, that the struggle takes place, because it requires and asks of you to actually consider, well, what is it that I believe? What do I believe strongly about? When I knew that I wanted to identify my own style, and I'm completely self-taught, I did not have an academic program to help me figure this out. But I knew that I wanted gallery representation, and I wanted to give becoming a painter a full-time effort. I had to figure out, how do artists come up with their own style? And I also had to figure out, well, where do we get our ideas from? We get our ideas from what we see, from what we remember, and from what we imagine, and sometimes from our emotions. Those four areas kind of hold our hearts strongly and have these wells of memories and information and ideas that we can pull from, right? So the question becomes, are you pulling from something that is a reflection or a rebellion? Or are you reimagining something that exists that you feel like it should exist differently? Those are really big things to consider. Because based on your answer, they can give you more of an idea of how do you go from choosing a common subject matter that you might like to paint. But if you consider that common subject matter and shift it with a rebellious point of view or belief, like if you want to say something strongly that's political, that's going to lend yourself to a much bolder, bigger idea. What if it's a reflection on something? What if you're considering ideas and beliefs tied to a subject matter and you're reflecting on the relevance of something? Why it matters? You know, why do animals matter? What's the relevance of an animal to you? And in what light would you want to paint them so that the viewer understood your belief, your stronghold about that animal, why that animal matters? Or is it a reimagining? Do you experience something in your daily life that you feel is an injustice and you imagine it in a different way, in a more beautiful way? Do you want to paint the world as you wish it was instead of as it is? These are all concepts that we need to consider as painters. If our goal is to move from simply learning how to paint and painting common objects in a technical way and choosing what we want to paint tied to a belief about that thing, the relevance of that thing based on a belief that we have for it. And then we want to propose that through the physical way that we alter painting that with pigment, with fabric, with threads, with pottery, with dance, with words. That's when our hearts start really showing up. But we first have to identify, what do we believe? What's important enough to us about certain things that allow us to speak boldly through paint and pigment. And maybe not just boldly, speak beautifully through paint and pigment. Yeah, what's your version of beautifully different and interesting? Well, that has to do with what you believe about the subject matter of your choice and why that subject matters to you and what their story is. Deep thoughts around shifting from the how to shifting to your why as a painter.